Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to the detailed Saidi course. And in this course, my dears, we will study a lot about Saidi. Everything actually. So, of course, that we will begin from the cultural manifestation, history. I will explain you about the Saidi's influences, okay? So you can understand slowly each style of Saidi, so you can really know why do we dance Saidi like we do today. Okay? We will have a lot of combos. A choreography exclusively made for you here in the course. Okay, so I hope you like it, and I'm really happy for having you here. It's an honor for me, so thank you so much, really. Well, so let's begin. First of all, I need to talk about Tahtib. Tahtib is a very ancient martial art from Egypt, okay, from the ancient Egypt. And on the ancient Egypt, it was used to train soldiers, to prepare them to the war. And it was used, so far that we know, at least 5,000 years ago. It is a lot of time, right? And the archaeologists know about this time because they found some hieroglyphs in a pyramid called Sahure. This pyramid is somewhere near Luxor, the great Luxor city, okay? And they found these hieroglyphs in its walls. In these hieroglyphs, as you can see, the soldiers, they are holding something in their hands. And the writings tell us the history. So they were holding asayas, the sticks, okay? And they trained with the sticks, but they went to war with spears or, of course, soldiers, okay? And many of them, when they were real soldiers, they went to war riding horses, right? So, when I'm doing this type of movements here with my asaya, right? When I'm doing this, I'm clearly representing a soldier, okay? So I'm doing attack and defense movements. And when I'm doing these types of movements here, the basic from Saidi, what do you think I'm trying to represent? If they went to war on horses, I'm representing a horse. So when I'm doing this, movements like this, I'm representing a soldier riding a horse, so a knight, okay? So many of the movements, of the Saidi movements, they came from Tahtib, they came from war. We are representing, even if you are a woman, we are representing soldiers on its horses, okay? And that's why also the posture for Saidi is really straight, and you need to look really confident. Okay, this is very important. The way you dance, the way you express yourself, need to be very confident because you are now a warrior. Okay, and the Saidi history is not just happiness. As you can see, the beginning of it was in the war. So we need to express it, we need to show it on the stage when we are dancing. Okay? Well, after that, as Saidi is a very ancient martial art, when we think like 3,000 years ago, not Saidi, I'm sorry, Tahtib. When we think like 3,000 years ago, Tahtib was already 2,000 years old. So it became a old man thing very quick in the history, okay? And of course, the ancient Egypt stopped using the Tahtibi for training the soldiers, okay? So they started to use another techniques and other types of trainings, and Tahtib became a little more philosophical. So the masters of Tahtib, the Tahtib fighters, they have to be loyal to their family, to their country. They can't use these techniques on day to day, and they need to move very fluid like water, and very fast and like a feather, like the wind, okay? They have to be really resistant, really strong, like rock, like fire. I'm sorry, like rock and earth, and really dangerous like fire. Okay, so this is their philosophy today. And the Tahtib, after not being used to train soldiers, it became more popular year by year, very slowly, okay? Because many people found Tahtib boring, because they, you see, when they went to watch the fight, if I'm fighting with you and you against me and we are fighting seriously, you will try to win the fight and I will try to win the fight. So I won't do very, how can I say this, very graceful spinnings, very amazing throwings with the asaya so I can attack you. No, I will just wait for the right moment to do that. So the masters of Tahtib, to not let this martial art die, they had an idea to add music and choreographies to its fights. So the common people, the common men that were not fighters, when they saw Tahtib, they were like, oh my God, this is really amazing, this is really great, this is even beautiful, so I want to be there with them. So well, they started doing that, mostly in the, how can I say, 40th and 30th century, okay, mostly there, when the Egyptian music was already really refined, okay, the rhythms were really rich, and well, they started using music in the Tahtibi fights, in the Tahtibi presentations. So the people, mostly men, actually only men in that time, new students, mostly men, okay, could enter the classes, could start learning and pass on those techniques, that culture, okay? And there is when the Tahtib became also a dance. So the Saidi for men was born, okay? But in Egypt, they don't call Saidi for men and Saidi for women. So me, as a man, I dance Tahtib. So there is the Tahtib fight and also the Tahtib dance, okay? So when a man is dancing Tahtib, we always represent a fighter, a warrior. We do defense movements, attack movements all the time. This is not the case for women, okay? You can do it, but if you don't want to, you don't need to. So you women, you have more ways to follow, more styles of Saidi to dance, okay? So in a resumed way, but in a complete way also, this is the history of Tahtib, fight and dance. So where do the women enter in this history? Now we have to jump from the century, for the 30th century to 7th century, okay? So, in the 7th century, the Europe was already inside Africa. Many African countries was already conquered by the Europeans, except by Egypt. Egypt, in that time, was conquered by the Ottoman Empire. Do you know them? Yeah, the Ottoman Empire. Well, so Napoleon Bonaparte, he was the great emperor of France and probably the greatest emperor in Europe at that time. And well, he decided to strike the Ottoman Empire by conquering Egypt, because Egypt was like a how can I say, a treasure chest, actually, okay? So, and also, it would be a really hard hit to the Ottoman Empire army. So, well, he went there, but in the same time, the Gawazi people, they were living in peace in Egypt. And just to be clear, Gawazis, the men and the women, they were actually Egyptians, okay? So the Gawazi people is a gypsy people, but they were Egyptian gypsies, okay? So they were not from India, they did not came from outside, they were Egyptians. They were born, living and dying in Egypt, okay? So they were gypsies, yes, but they were Egyptians. Well, they were living in peace with the other Egyptians. Mostly of the Gawazi women, they were dancers and merchants, okay? And mostly of the men, they were merchants and musicians. And they changed a lot of goods with the other Egyptian people. They had a really close relationship, okay? But the Europeans came. And there were the Battle of the 100 Days, also known as the Battle of the Pyramids, okay? And well, Napoleon, with the help of the England army, they decided to attack Egypt in a very specific moment of their history. The Ottoman Empire army wasn't there because they were marching on another countries. And the France and England, mostly France, marched into Egypt in this exact same time. Okay, so the army, the European army, was fighting against a militia. So they were fighting against people holding arms, holding weapons, not arms, holding weapons, okay? So, well, this was actually a slaughter because many Egyptians died, and I doubt that some European died in that war. And well, the French army, with the help of the England, they conquered the north of Egypt, actually half of Egypt, the north half, okay? Not the south, because the south it is until today, a really difficult region to march with your army because it has a lot of mountains and rivers, so it's really difficult. Well, so the Europeans went there and they saw the Gawazis, the Gawazi dancers, doing their presentations in public squares, in the palaces, and those presentations were really loved by the Egyptian people. So many people went on their shows to see them dancing, to watch them dancing. So they gathered a lot of public, a really big public, okay, in that time. But with the Europeans there, they thought, the men thought, that the Gawazis were dancing to seduce them, that they were dancing to conquer their heart, to, well, conquer their body, and well, no, that was just their job. They were just dancing because that's what they like to do. And the Gawazis, they were known to dance everything, so with sword, with snake, with veils, so they were dancers, very inspirational, okay? So many styles came from them. Okay, so with that happening, the Europeans started to say things about them in Europe and to paint and sell some paintings about the Gawazi dancers in Europe. Now, see the Gawazi dancers. This picture was taken in the 18th century, okay, 1 century later. And as you can see, their skin is dark, their hair is dark, and they were using a lot of clothes, right? So they were showing only hands and face, and that's all. And this is a really famous painting about the Gawazis. Yeah, it's not the same woman, right? So this woman here is almost naked, showing her breasts. She's really white and blonde, and well, she's not a Gawazi, okay? And well, many of the Gawazis believed that if they went to Europe, they would be rich, because that was what the men were telling them. And well, many of them really went there, and they were like slaves, because, well, they were just trying to use them, and well, they were abused and used, so they were not rich or happy in Europe. And the others that kept in Egypt, well, they were facing a really bad time in their history, because the Egyptians started to see, while they were seeing the Gawazis leaving to Europe, they were like, oh, so you were really trying to seduct those men. So the Egyptians started to hate on the Gawazis, many of the Egyptians, because of this, because they felt like it was a betrayal, okay? But some of them tried to keep those presentations going on, and of course, that gathered some public, and the other Egyptians started to use their presentations to gather more people, more soldiers to their motive, to their plan. Because there was a group in Egypt that were trying to kill Napoleon in Egyptian territory. So they used the Gawazi presentations to reunite with those people, to gather more and more people to their plan. Well, they attacked Napoleon. That was not how Napoleon died. You know the history. So that group was killed, and many of them went to jail also. But Napoleon blamed the Gawazi dancers, because he believed that those dancers were trying to hide that group, to hide that plan, on purpose. So, well, now the Europeans were angry with them, and also the Egyptians. So they started to having jobs, to be able to do shows, presentations, and many of them, unfortunately, started to sell their bodies, okay? And this decision made the Egyptians hate them even more. Yeah, so well, this part of their history is really, really sad, really bad. But after that, the Ottoman Empire came from south of Egypt, reconquered Egypt, banishing the French and English army. But they decided to keep the European nobles there because of their money, right? And to maintain the peace, to maintain a good image to Cairo and Egypt, they decided also to banish the Gawazis from Cairo and Luxor, their born cities, right? So the Gawazis, and Gawazi is the plural of the word, of the people. Gazia is one person, okay? But well, so the Gawazi people, they went south of Egypt, by pure obligation. They went there, and in the south of Egypt, there is the Saidi region. And the south of Egypt is also known as the High Egypt. Okay, the High Egypt is the Saidi region. And in the Saidi region, the Gawazis, they saw for the first time with their bare eyes the Tahtib fight and the Tahtib dance. So the dancers, they thought, if we start using the stick, the saya on our dance, we will be the first women to dance with the stick. So our dance will be something new again. The people will want to see us dancing again. And well, that went really well to them, because in the south of Egypt, the people weren't so aware of what was happening in the north, okay? And they weren't really caring about what was happening there, because in the south there were not many soldiers, and as I said, it's a very high region with many mountains, so there were a lot of farmers there, not big cities. So well, the information goes slowly there. And well, that went really well, that plan to dance with the saya, with the stick. And they started to go again to some palaces, to some parties, to the public squares, gathering again a lot of public. But they decided, and it's true, that the tahtib stick, this one here, it has 1 meter and 30 centimeters. Okay, I don't know how to say this in feet, but 1 meter and 30 centimeters. And it is already big and heavy. The tahtib stick, it has 1 meter and 70 centimeters. So it's like a person. So it's really, really difficult to dance with it. Okay? So they started using the walking sticks from the nobles. In that time, if you were a nobleman, you had to use a walking stick. Those walking sticks were really beautiful, with silver and copper and gold, with many drawings. So the Gawazis, to use something more beautiful, more light, and also to get close to the nobles, they decided to use the walking stick of those nobles. Okay, so they were not dancing Saidi. They were dancing just baladi or Gawazi belly dance with a walking stick. And that's why many people until today dance with the curvy stick, the walking stick. Okay, so the Gawazis were the ones who started this idea. Okay, so their movements were just like belly dance with the walking stick, with the curvy asaya. Okay, so they were the great inspiration to the creation of Saidi dance, but they were not dancing Saidi. Okay, the women that created the Saidi dance was actually the Saidi women. Okay, the women who was born and living and growing up and studying in the Saidi region. So when the Gawazis came and started using the stick, actually the walking stick in their dance, the Saidi women, they were like, they are not from here, and they are using a kind of asaya to dance, so well, we can do it. And until today, in Egypt, you as a woman, you can't go there and learn tahtib, because they believe that tahtib is a technique for men. Well, yeah, Egypt. And in that time, there was really a belief in the country, so only men can fight tahtib. But the Saidi women, they was born there, so they could see, they could watch tahtib many times. And many farmers, men, they knew how to fight tahtib, but they were producing milk and other foods. And when they went to the big cities to sell their products, they was teaching their wives and daughters to fight Tahtib so they could defend themselves when they were not there. So many Saidi women knew how to fight Tahtib and also how to belly dance. Okay? So, inspired by the Gawazis, they decided to use the Tahtib stick on their dance. But in this case, these women knew how to fight Tahtib. Okay? So, now we are talking about Saidi dance, in fact. Okay? So the Gawazis, they were like doing Raqs al-Saya. Raqs means dance al-Saya with the stick. So they were dancing with the stick, but it's not the dance off the stick. Okay? So to do a dance with the stick, all you need to do is have a stick on your hands and a saya. Okay? So they were just belly dancing while putting their saya here, on their hips, on their head, on the ground, but still belly dancing. This is the style that we will be dancing on the next class. Okay, so the next class is entirely practice, and we will start to learn and to understand the Gawazi style of Saidi. Because I'm saying today to you the moment of the history where the Gawazis went first to the Saidi region, but they lived there for the rest of their history. So they were still dancing with the saya. The Saidi dance was already born, so it was a cultural marriage with the Gawazi and Saidi. Okay, I will explain it for you on the next classes, but on the next one we will dance our first combo. Okay, so thank you so much. See you next week. I hope you like this class. I hope you like the course. And well, thank you so much and see you.